Iraq's monetary shift signals of a new era introduction for years. The Iraqi dinar has been the subject of speculation, analysis, and endless debate within the global currency investment community. Enthusiasts and skeptics alike have followed every rumor, every speech from the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, and every shift in international markets in the hope of catching the first sign of genuine change. Now, that moment appears to be drawing closer than ever. Recent developments coming out of Baghdad suggest that the long-anticipated economic transformation may finally be underway. What makes this moment stand out from countless previous reports is one undeniable fact. Iraqi state television has begun displaying new exchange rates for the dinar. Unlike whispers on forums or secondhand reports, this is being broadcast openly for all citizens to see. Public display of exchange rates is not something governments do casually. It represents confidence, preparation, and commitment to reform. Alongside this, Iraq's federal court has issued a historic ruling that reaffirms its supreme authority over all other governmental and judicial bodies. Together, these two events create a powerful narrative. Iraq is clearing legal obstacles while simultaneously preparing its people for monetary transition. In this section, we will take a deep dive into the significance of these events, explore the reasoning behind public broadcasts of exchange rates, analyze the federal court's ruling, and examine how these moves combine to form the foundation for what many believe could be the revaluation, RV of the Iraqi dinar. Broadcasting new exchange rates. Why it matters. The most electrifying news for investors and analysts alike is that Iraq has started showing new exchange rates on national television. This is monumental for several reasons. 1. Transparency for citizens. For years, the Iraqi public has heard about monetary reform but has seen little in terms of concrete action. By putting exchange rates on television, the government is creating awareness, reducing confusion, and preparing its citizens for change. When a nation introduces new currency values, sudden shocks can destabilize the economy. Educating the public through consistent, visible communication helps to ease the transition. 2. Technical system testing. Broadcasting rates is not only about public messaging. It also serves as a real-world test of the technical infrastructure. Information has to flow correctly from the central bank to media outlets, banks, and digital platforms. Displaying rates on TV allows the authorities to confirm that the systems are feeding accurate, synchronized data to every channel. 3. International signal. More than just domestic preparation. These broadcasts are a way for Iraq to signal to the international community that it is stepping into a more transparent, modern era. Investors, partner governments, and foreign institutions see these actions as proof that Iraq is moving beyond talk into execution. 4. End of the rumor mill. For years, talk of exchange rate adjustments circulated as rumors on blogs and forums. Skeptics dismissed them because there was no official confirmation. Now, however, the conversation shifts from rumor to visible reality. This public move is a clear indicator that Iraq is no longer merely discussing reforms behind closed doors. It is preparing its entire nation and the world for what is coming. The federal court's landmark decision. Almost at the same time, another crucial event unfolded. Iraq's federal court reaffirmed its authority as the highest legal body in the country. For many observers, this legal ruling may not seem connected to currency news, but in truth, it plays a decisive role in Iraq's economic reforms. Here's why. Ultimate legal authority. The federal court declared that its rulings are final and cannot be overridden by any other governmental or judicial body. This creates certainty, eliminating confusion over competing interpretations of laws. Removal of legal barriers. In the past, Iraq's economic reforms have faced delays because of disputes over legislation, contracts, and interpretations of constitutional provisions. With this ruling, the federal court has effectively shut the door on endless appeals and challenges that previously slowed reform. Investor confidence. Legal uncertainty is one of the biggest risks for investors. When contracts can be overturned or laws reinterpreted, businesses hesitate to commit resources. By asserting its supreme authority, the federal court has laid down a predictable foundation for business, trade, and foreign investment. Political stability. Iraq has experienced years of political disagreements that sometimes paralyzed decision-making. With the federal court now drawing a line of clarity, those disputes lose their power to derail reforms. In short, this ruling is not merely about legal philosophy. It directly impacts Iraq's ability to move forward with decisive action. By eliminating constitutional roadblocks, Iraq is creating an environment where economic reforms can be implemented without fear of endless delays. Expert reactions. Analysts weigh in. Several well-known voices in the Dinar community have offered perspectives on these twin developments. Militiaman. The green light. One respected analyst, Militiaman, has described the federal court ruling as the long-awaited green light. According to him, investors had been frustrated by months of mixed signals and political stalemates. Now, with legal clarity established, there is no excuse for leadership not to move forward. Militiaman emphasizes that this decision not only gives confidence to Iraq's citizens, but also to foreign investors and international agencies watching closely. In his words, Iraq now has a clear runway for reform. Nothing is standing in the way. Frank 26 and Firefly Sami, banking system trials. Another influential figure, Frank 26, relayed insights from his trusted Iraqi source, Firefly Sami. According to reports, Iraq's banking sector recently went through stress testing. The tests simulated large transaction volumes, international transfers, and system loads to see how infrastructure would hold up. Initially, weaknesses were exposed: bottlenecks, slow transaction times, and even outages. These vulnerabilities explained some of the delays in rolling out reforms. However, Firefly Sami reports that the problems have been fixed. Banks have upgraded technology, strengthened infrastructure, and added backup systems. Today, Iraq's financial network is far more capable of handling major changes, from ATM withdrawals to international SWIFT transfers. Frank 26 describes this readiness as the final piece of the puzzle before Iraq can confidently move forward. Why banking readiness is crucial. A nation cannot adjust its exchange rate, let alone revalue its currency, without a reliable banking system. Imagine the chaos if citizens couldn't access deposits, if transactions failed, or if international transfers froze mid-process. Trust would evaporate overnight. That's why Iraq has been methodically upgrading its banking systems before taking any big steps. Key upgrades include faster transaction processing, improved clearing times between banks, modern anti-fraud and anti-counterfeit measures, digital payment platforms. For everyday use, redundant backup systems to prevent outages. With these tools in place, Iraq can now handle the massive financial activity that would come with currency reform, from domestic exchanges to international trade settlements. The trifecta: legal clarity, public awareness, technical readiness. When we put these developments together, a clear picture emerges. 1. Legal clarity. The federal court ensures there will be no more roadblocks or disputes delaying reforms. 2. Public awareness broadcasting rates, educates, and prepares citizens for change. 3. Technical readiness. The banking sector is now strong enough to support major monetary moves. This trifecta is why many analysts call this moment a breakthrough. For the first time in years, everything appears to be aligning simultaneously. From rumors to reality, it's important to recognize just how far the conversation has shifted. For years, speculation about revaluation was dismissed as rumor, based on unofficial chatter. But now, television networks are showing rates, undeniable proof that something real is happening. The Central Bank of Iraq is testing systems, showing commitment to accuracy. Government contracts are reportedly being revised to align with new values. This is no longer talk on forums. It is action happening in public view. Preparing citizens for lower denominations. Reports indicate that Iraq is also preparing to introduce lower denomination notes. This move is vital for daily commerce. If the dinar appreciates in value, using existing large notes like 25,000 IQD for small purchases becomes impractical. Citizens need smaller denominations for everyday transactions. The government is reportedly planning public education campaigns, including official articles that show images of new notes and explain how they will be used. This transparency will help avoid confusion or mistrust when the notes are introduced. Shifting away from the dollar. Another powerful signal is Iraq's increasing move to settle contracts in dinars rather than US dollars. For years, dollarization has been a challenge in Iraq's economy. Many transactions, Even domestic ones were settled in dollars. By moving contracts to the national currency, Iraq strengthens trust in the dinar and lays the groundwork for a stronger valuation. Investor readiness investment advisors are already urging dinar holders to prepare for possible changes. Key steps include consulting tax professionals about potential obligations, organizing documentation for currency purchases, planning for responsible handling of post-RV profits. The message is clear. Preparation today avoids complications tomorrow. Protests and public concerns. While progress is real, challenges remain. Reports of citizens protesting outside the central bank highlight ongoing frustrations, such as delayed deposits and difficulty accessing funds. These issues underscore the importance of reforms, not only at the institutional level, but also in building public trust. Iraq must ensure that ordinary citizens experience tangible improvements in banking services if it wants the reforms to succeed. Iraq stands at the edge of transformation. The broadcasting of exchange rates, the federal court's decisive ruling, and the banking system's readiness combine to create the strongest signal, yet that real monetary reform is imminent. For the first time in decades, Iraq appears not just willing but capable of executing large-scale financial changes. Whether this leads to a simple adjustment in exchange rates, the introduction of new notes, or the long-anticipated revaluation of the dinar, one truth is clear. The country is entering a new phase of transparency, strength, and confidence. Investors, citizens, and international observers alike are watching with heightened anticipation. The coming days and weeks will reveal whether Iraq has finally reached the turning point so many have been waiting for. U.S. banking developments and the global implications of Iraq's currency reform introduction. As Iraq moves steadily closer to a monetary transformation, ripples are already being felt outside its borders. Investors in the United States and other countries have been keeping a close watch on every sign, wondering when and how the long-anticipated changes will impact them directly. One of the most surprising developments comes from American financial institutions. Reports indicate that Chase Bank, one of the largest banks in the United States, has begun accepting Iraqi Dinar (IQD) notes for exchange at select locations. For years, major U.S. banks avoided processing dinar transactions beyond basic authentication. The shift toward active exchange suggests that the financial world is preparing behind the scenes for a new chapter in Iraq's economic story. In this section, we'll explore how Chase Bank's reported actions fit into the bigger picture, examine what this means for other major banks, walk through the step-by-step process of how these exchanges are unfolding, and analyze the implications for both investors and the global financial community. Chase Bank accepting 25,000 dinar notes for many IQD holders. The news seemed almost too good to be true. Chase Bank branches in major U.S. cities reportedly began processing exchanges for 25,000 dinar notes. Why is this significant? 1. First major bank to move up. Until now, most large banks took a wait-and-see approach. They verified authenticity of notes but stopped short of providing exchanges. By stepping forward, Chase is setting an example and showing readiness to engage in real transactions. 2. Large denomination acceptance, starting with the 25,000 note, is strategic. High denomination notes are easier to process in early stages. They represent large value with fewer physical notes, which allows banks to monitor liquidity and demand without overwhelming their systems. 3. Soft launch strategy. By rolling out exchanges quietly in select branches, Chase can monitor customer flow, test internal procedures, and address issues before expanding nationwide. This cautious approach reduces risks and helps ensure smooth operations. 4. Signal of system preparedness. For a bank of Chase's scale, processing foreign currency is not just about cash handling. It requires coordination with compliance teams, IT systems, and international banking partners. If Chase is moving forward, it suggests broader readiness in the financial system. Exchange rates being offered. Reports indicate that Chase is offering rates consistent with the Central Bank of Iraq's published figures. This is important because it shows the bank is aligning with official sources rather than speculation. At the same time, there are whispers about the possibility of special contract rates for certain customers. These may be offered to individuals with pre-scheduled appointments, high-volume exchangers participants in private groups, sometimes referred to in the community as Tier 4B. While these higher rates are not confirmed in public documents, the chatter matches long-standing discussions that early or bulk participants could gain access to preferred rates. The exchange process, step by step for those curious about how exchanges at Chase reportedly work. Here is a breakdown based on early reports. 1. Appointment scheduling. Customers call ahead or walk into select branches. In most cases, an appointment is required to ensure proper handling. 2. Identity verification. Banks request valid government-issued identification, such as a driver's license or passport. This step satisfies compliance requirements. 3. Currency authentication. Dinar notes are verified using in-branch detection tools to confirm authenticity and prevent counterfeits. 4. Exchange calculation. Once verified, the exchange value is calculated at the day's rate. Customers are shown the breakdown before processing. 5. Funds deposit. The converted funds are credited to the customer's bank account, often on the same day. In some cases, processing may take up to 24 hours. 6. Compliance questions. Customers may be asked a few standard questions related to anti-money laundering, AML, and Know Your Customer (KIC) rules. These ensure compliance with U.S. and international banking regulations. 7. Receipt and confirmation. A receipt is issued, confirming the transaction. Some customers report being asked whether they intend to move large sums immediately, a normal precaution for banks monitoring large transfers. This process mirrors procedures for other foreign currency exchanges, but with added scrutiny given the speculative nature of dinar holdings. Why now? The timing explained. Why would Chase and possibly other banks start accepting IQD now? Several factors may be converging. 1. Iraq's strengthening economy. Over the last 2 years, Iraq has stabilized oil production, increased exports, and improved government functionality. These improvements boost confidence in the currency's future. 2. Compliance with international standards. Iraq has been aligning with International Monetary Fund, IMF guidelines, and upgrading its financial systems. The modernization of banking infrastructure allows for greater integration with the global system. 3. Anti-counterfeit measures. The Central Bank of Iraq has introduced enhanced security features in its currency, making it easier for foreign banks to authenticate notes. 4. International pressure. With Iraq playing an increasingly important role in regional energy markets, there is pressure from trading partners and investors for its currency to become more internationally functional. 5. Testing U.S. systems. By quietly allowing exchanges in select locations, banks like Chase may be stress testing their own systems, ensuring liquidity, compliance, and operational readiness before larger waves of transactions. Other banks, Wells Fargo, HSBC, and beyond. If Chase is leading the way, what about other major institutions? Wells Fargo has long been rumored to prepare for IQD exchanges, though official confirmation remains scarce. HSBC, with its global footprint, is considered well-positioned to handle IQD transactions once reforms are official. Regional banks may follow the lead of larger institutions after the initial rollout proves successful. In the financial world, once one major player begins offering a service, competitors often follow quickly to avoid losing customers. The bigger picture, a coordinated transformation. Chase's reported acceptance of IQD is not happening in isolation. It coincides with Iraq's public broadcasting of exchange, rates the federal court's assertion of supreme authority, banking upgrades and stress test completions, the introduction of lower denominations contracts being adjusted to align with new rates taken together. These actions form a coordinated transformation, one that appears carefully planned and systematically executed. Investor readiness. Taxes and strategy investment experts are urging holders of IQD to prepare responsibly. The excitement of a potential revaluation can quickly turn into problems if individuals fail to consider tax and compliance obligations. Key steps for investors. 1. Consult a tax professional. Profits from currency exchanges may be subject to capital gains or other forms of taxation. Planning ahead avoids surprises. 2. Document currency purchases. Keeping records of where and when dinar were purchased is critical. This documentation will be needed for tax reporting. 3. Create a post-exchange plan. Suddenly acquiring large sums of money without a strategy can lead to poor decisions. Advisors recommend planning in advance how funds will be allocated, invested, or saved. For compliance awareness, banks will report large transactions. Investors must be prepared to answer questions and provide documentation if asked. Remaining challenges. Even as progress builds, Iraq and investors face challenges. Public trust. Protests in Iraq highlight frustration over banking delays. Continued reforms are needed to build confidence. Political stability. Although legal clarity has improved, Iraq must continue to maintain political stability for reforms to succeed. Global perception. Some international observers remain cautious, recalling past delays and unfulfilled announcements. Addressing these challenges is essential for sustaining momentum. Could the point of no return be near? Many analysts believe that once Iraq's new rates are fully displayed, the nation will reach a point of no return. At that stage, the government will be committed to reforms in a way that cannot easily be reversed. For U.S. banks, the quiet acceptance of IQD may represent their own version of this point of no return. By preparing their systems and beginning limited exchanges, they are signaling that they expect larger moves soon. Global integration, and what comes next. The ultimate goal of Iraq's monetary reform is not simply a revaluation, but full integration into the global financial system. Trade settlements. Iraq will be able to conduct trade in its own currency, reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar. Foreign investment. A stronger, stable dinar will attract foreign capital, boosting infrastructure and economic growth. Regional stability. As Iraq strengthens financially, it contributes to greater stability in the Middle East. For investors worldwide, these changes represent more than speculation. They indicate the opening of a new market with significant potential. Conclusion. The developments surrounding Chase Bank's reported acceptance of Iraqi dinar are more than just a banking footnote. They are part of a larger mosaic of transformation. Alongside Iraq's internal reforms, they demonstrate that the global financial system is quietly preparing for what could be one of the most significant currency events in modern history. From public broadcasts of exchange rates in Baghdad to private appointments at U.S. banks, the pieces are falling into place. While challenges remain, the trajectory is unmistakable. Iraq is moving toward transparency, stability, and global integration. For investors, the key now is preparation, not just emotionally, but financially, legally, and strategically. The next steps could redefine the economic landscape of Iraq and deliver long-awaited outcomes for those who have patiently held onto the dinar. The eyes of the world are watching, and the coming weeks may reveal whether this moment becomes the turning point so many have anticipated. Disclaimer: all content provided by IQD Global Intel is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and do not provide investment, trading, or banking advice. Viewers should always conduct their own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.